Hi, this is Bonnie Boice. I'm a co-founder of Whole Life Leader, and my co-founder Cindy Stack and myself launched this program of mastering whole life leadership. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to give you a little bit of background on what the program is and how Cindy and I got here. Cindy and I met each other when we were in junior high, and we've been friends ever since. And so she and I have been living our whole life together, experiencing all the ups and downs in the journey of our whole life. And doing that with another person, you really start to identify the times that we coached each other or supported each other. Both Cindy and I are leadership coaches. Both Cindy and I have experience being in large organizations, um, being in HR. Cindy was in HR, and I was in the finance functions. In the end of my career, I was actually the president of a $1 billion nonprofit. And Cindy and I, as we started to look to the future of who we wanted to be as we got to the golden ages, we decided there was so much that she and I knew about how we lived our whole life together that we launched this organization and then developed a program for helping other people identify some practices that they could really be them best selves every day. So we launched a program called Mastering Whole Life Leadership. It has 4 half-day workshops, and you get coached twice. And the basics of the program are to help you think about how to be your best self. And we introduce you to some practices that allow you to be aware, to explore, and then to apply the practices to have them impact your life. So we start the program out with a workshop called Welcome and Exploring Your Strengths. And in that workshop, we talk about strengths and the PERMA model, which is Marty Seligman's theory of well-being. And in the PERMA model, we help you do an assessment of how your well-being is going. PERMA stands for positive emotions, your engagement, your relationships, your meaning, and your achievement. And in that work to understand how your well-being is going, you could just check in on how you're doing in those areas. If you identify there's one of the areas that you think you want to do something about, we teach you a practice of just to make your life 5% better. What's the one thing you could do today or tomorrow that would just make it 5% better and just start moving in a direction of being your best self? The second workshop is the Best Self Workshop. And that workshop, we spend a little more time on your strengths. We use VIA strengths assessment. VIA stands for values in action. And the reason why we use that assessment is so that we can have a language and we can all start to talk about each other's character strengths, and we can learn to start strength spotting and actually strength spotting in ourselves. And now, once we have a couple stories of who we are and who we were at our best selves and what strengths do we bring to the table, we spend a little bit of time actually journaling on who is my best self? Who would I be if I was my best self every day? And in that process of journaling, you really start to dream about who you can be in the future. When you come back to the third workshop, we introduce you into a practice called WHOOP, which is another researcher's model on how to help you really understand what your wish is, what are the outcomes of that wish, what are the obstacles, your own inner obstacles that may get in your way, and what is a plan that you would do to help overcome those obstacles. So if you've written who your best self is and you know what your signature strengths are, you actually can have a really solid plan to achieve your own wishes. You get coached twice on your whoop. In those individual coaching sessions, we get to drill down a little bit on what your own internal obstacles are, identify some if-then practices you could do. And then when you come back to the fourth section, you actually present your whoop to your fellow colleagues that are doing the program with you. And in that fourth workshop, we celebrate the fact that you've learned these practices of PERMA, strengths, your best self, and whoop. And you begin to ground who you are, and you're managing your own internal operating system. We believe a leader, to be the best that they can be, you need to actually lead yourself first. And once we're leading ourselves, then we can actually lead what we want to do in the outer world. So we spend time on your inner world so that you're better with your outer world. I'd love to spend more time with you. I'd love to talk to you more about what Mastering Whole Life Leadership could do for you. And I look forward to talking to you in the future.